it's a touchdown.
And the boys sit down.
Girls, wave your arms, show the talk on the town.
Everybody stand up and raise your arms up to the sky.
Yeah, and now put them back down again.
Nah, put your arms up.
Put them back down again.
No, up,
Down,
up,
down,
up,
down,
up,
down,
up,
down,
up.
down.
This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song. This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song. This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song. This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song.
Now you gotta understand that God gave you some hands. So raise those hands in the air and give someone a high five, like you really do care.
Oh, yeah.
High five, high five, high five, high five, high five, high five, high five.
Face the front and let me see you in slow. Now pose. Clap your hands.
That's some good moving. But now we're gonna go pro. Can you keep up? I don't know. Here we go. Now bop. Bop, bop, bop.
Superman.
Batman.
Superman.
Batman. Box step. Box step. And the robot freeze.
This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song. This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song. This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song. This is called the moving song, moving song, moving song.
Everybody flossing. I wanna see everybody flossing.
Am I doing it right, Mark?
No, not really. I wanna see everybody flossing. I wanna see everybody flossing. Show us your favorite move. I wanna see everybody moving. I wanna see everybody moving. Moving and grooving.
When my world feels like it's shaking, when my heart feels like it's breaking, walking over waves can be hard to do. Take my hand, you're the hero
Live from 10th Avenue in New York City, it's The 10 Show with Max Montgomery. And now, here's your host, Max Montgomery.
What's going on? Come on, let me hear ya! Woo! And... Alrighty then. It's time to get into today's 10 Show. The show where we celebrate the number... 10! You're so good! That's right, the number 10. Well, we have an amazing show for you. Probably the best show that we've ever had. So let's get right into it. Bafo, take it away! All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Bafo and the 10 Show Band. All right. Hey, listen. We've got a great show for you today. I can't wait to get into it, but I got to find out. Bafo, how has your week been going?
It's going great, Max. Hey, how about yours?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Now listen, I heard that you had a whole lot of friends over at your house the other night.
I sure did. We played one of my all-time favorite games.
Oh, really? What game is that?
Buffalo backgammon.
I can't say that I've ever heard of that. How do you play it?
It's kind of complicated, Max. Let's just say that it involves 4 tennis rackets, a necktie, and a small water buffalo.
Oh, yeah. Sounds complicated. And weird. Boys and girls, I'm excited that you're here because today we're continuing 10 for Life, taking 10 scriptures that will help us for our life. We're memorizing them, we're learning them, but I'll tell you what, before we get into this week's verse, it's time for today's Top 10 list. All right, today's Top 10 list. Our category today is the top 10 rejected movie titles for the movie Star Wars. Bafo, you've seen Star Wars, right?
Star Wars, that kind of rings a bell. Is that the one where they had the 2 little hairy people going up to the volcano to melt their bling bling?
No, not quite. It's a space movie. You know, Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker? I went to high school with that joker. He owes me $10.
Never mind. Boys and girls, today's top 10 list is the top 10 rejected movie titles for Star Wars. These are titles they thought about naming the movie, but didn't. Here we go. Number 10, Wacky Wookiees. Number 9, Yoda Man. Number 8, Space Weasel. Number 7, Lightsabers the Musical. Number 6, Planets Go Boom. Number 5, Gone with the Wind. Number 4, R2-D2's Electric Barbecue. Number 3, Han Solo, I Can't Hear You. Number 2, All Droids Go to Heaven. And the number 1 rejected title of the movie Star Wars, Darth Vader's My Dad. And that's our top 10 list. That was our top 10 list today, everybody. Now, we've got a great show, but before we get started, I've got to let you hear from our commercial sponsor today. So, we'll be right back with The 10 Show.
Hi, I like to yell a lot. I also like to sell amazing products, like this one right here. It's the Mystery Box. It's the final answer to all your problems. This baby slices, it dices, it deep fries, it even walks your dog. How does it work? I don't know. It's a mystery.
Wow, how can this box clean all these dishes?
It's a mystery.
Where are my socks?
It's a mystery.
Huh? What are you talking about?
It's a mystery! Call right now to order your very own mystery box. What's the number? How much does it cost? I have no idea! It's a mystery!
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited about our show today. Listen, our very special guest is a man who has an amazing story to tell. And he's also the pastor of a very large church. And I can't wait for you to meet him. Put your hands together and welcome Pastor Rod Lloyd. All right, good to see you.
Nice hair, Max. Yeah, thank you. I love what you've done with your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
I love my hair. It's given to me by my mama. All right. Pastor Rod, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Max. Thanks.
Listen, I am so excited to be able to have the pastor of such a large church here on the 10 Show. And I have some questions for you, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I know that thousands of people watch you deliver your sermon every single week. And I was just thinking, you must have grown up as like a superhuman kid or something, being able to know how to talk to thousands of people like that.
Actually, Max, it was completely the opposite of that.
Really?
I was the kid who didn't fit in. I don't know what they call it now. They called it a nerd, a geek. I was the reject. I didn't look good. I'm scared to talk in class. If I had to give a book report, I'd cry and not go to school. Kids picked on me, made fun of me.
Wait, you were picked on as a kid?
I was picked on so much, I begged my mom and dad to let me quit school so I could just stay home. I remember one kid, his name was Larry. I remember his name because he was so mean and he made my life miserable. He loved to pick on me. I remember one day him throwing rocks in the air and hitting them at me with a baseball bat. I remember him following me home from school and knocking my books on the ground, and I'd pick them up and he'd kick them and he'd knock me down again.
Really?
Larry scared me more. He made my life miserable. I hated school and I hated Larry.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, if I had somebody picking on me like that, I wouldn't want to go to school either. Matter of fact, I'd probably want to hide at home and never come out. But did it always continue like that, or did things ever change?
Well, there was a day. We were out on the playground. Still remember, I was swinging on the swing set. Larry was throwing rocks at me. All of a sudden, the sky got real black. And you could feel the wind start to blow. And then the teacher came on the principal came on the loudspeaker and kind of... I'm
sorry, what was that?
Yeah, that's what we all said. Nobody ever understands teachers and principals on loudspeakers. And the teachers came out and said, hurry kids, we got to go inside, a tornado's coming our way.
Oh, tornadoes are scary. What happened?
I was very scared. We went inside and they made us all get out in the hallway and, you know, all the things you do, turn out the lights and open the doors and equalize pressure and hold your... Do you remember the position, Max, that you had to do in the hallway?
I remember we had to get down and put our head between our knees.
Why don't you show us that position? Because I don't know if I can. I think you can.
It kind of looked like this.
That's it, exactly. That's the duck and cover position.
And make sure you cover your head.
Make sure you cover your head so if the building falls down.
Everything's fine because your hands are covering your head. Nothing's going to hurt you.
So we were out in the hallway. We're in the duck and cover position, and I heard a sound next to me.
Oh, was it the tornado siren?
It was not the tornado siren, but it sounded a little like a siren.
Well, what was it?
It was kind of a little sound that kind of went, and I didn't know what it was. And I looked, and there next to me was Larry.
He was making that sound?
He was making that sound.
You've got to be kidding me.
I was not happy with God.
Yeah, I said, here you are in a tornado with Larry.
If I'm going to die, I don't want to be next to Larry.
I can understand.
Now I'm next to Larry, but I just stayed there and I prayed, God, would you let the building fall down and just fall on Larry and not on me? I prayed lots of stuff. And then I listened again. I heard it a little louder. It's kind of, and before long, it's,
oh my.
And I turned and Larry was freaking out.
He was crying?
He was crying.
Because of the tornado, he was scared.
Because he was scared to death. And I said, Larry, what's wrong? And he said, don't you know we're going to die? I said, Larry, yes, we're going to die. But if I die, I'll go to heaven. And Larry, if you die, you're going to burn in hell.
Oh my!
Yeah.
You didn't cut any corners
No,
with
I
him, did
didn't.
you?
He started crying louder.
Wow.
He was freaking out.
That is quite an evangelism tactic.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but it worked that day for me. Finally, Larry asked me, why aren't you afraid? And I told him I wasn't afraid because I knew Jesus was with me. And it was right there, 3rd grade, duck and cover position in the hallway, tornado sirens blowing, that Larry, the guy who picked on me and made my life miserable, I prayed with him and he asked Jesus into his heart.
Wow. So I guess things probably changed there after he became a Christian, right?
My life changed completely when his life changed.
Wow. So tell us about it. What happened?
Well, Larry was no longer picking on me. Instead, I now had the biggest, toughest kid in the school as my best friend.
Wow.
So when we'd go out to get picked for kickball at recess,
right?
They'd pick Larry first, then they'd pick someone else, then Larry would kind of grab the shirt of the captain and say, pick Rod. And so they'd say, okay, Rod. So I'd be one of the first ones picked. If somebody was picking on me or throwing rocks at me, I'd just go, Larry. Larry'd come running over, stand there and say, that's my friend you're picking on. I wasn't picked on anymore. My life changed because the biggest, strongest kid in the school was my best friend. And when the biggest person's your best friend, nobody messes with you.
So earlier when you were by yourself, you were scared to even go to school, but suddenly when you had the biggest guy in the school as your best friend, well, suddenly you were strong and courageous.
It reminds me of one of my favorite verses, Joshua 1:9.
Oh, well, that verse is our verse that we're memorizing today in 10 for Life. Tell us, what does it say?
Joshua 1:9 says, I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
Wow, that is an amazing verse. And it reminds me of today's big idea. Today's big idea says, I'll be courageous, I'll be strong, because the Lord is with me all day long. So, every time today that you hear this sound, hey!
Hey everybody, welcome back to my living room. Can you believe we are in week number 5 of 10 for Life already? Today, our verse in 10 for Life is Joshua 1:9. Ricky, Why are you trying to hide, Ricky?
He's after me. He's after me. I gotta hide.
Wait. What? Who's after you? Why do you have to hide?
I better stop that, huh? Quiet. Asking me so many questions. I need to hide.
Hold on a second, would you? Tell me why you are trying to hide.
The president of the Deaf Free Association has asked me to speak at our word dinner coming up this week. He wants me to get up in front of hundreds of people and talk for like 15 minutes.
Referee Ricky, that is awesome. That seems like a great opportunity.
A great opportunity?
Yeah, a great opportunity.
Are you kidding me?
What do you mean?
It's ridiculously frightening. Opportunity is more like what if I get up there and freeze? And what if I stumble and stutter like right now? I will look like an idiot. I'm so scared to death. So I'm just gonna hide and hope he doesn't find me.
Hold on for a second, Ricky. You can't just hide from this situation.
Watch me.
Well, okay, I guess you can hide, but that's not all what you should do. There's no reason to be afraid.
No reason to be afraid?
Right, no reason to be afraid.
No reason to be afraid?
That's what I said.
Yeah, I heard that. Okay, I better stop that, huh?
Okay.
He's gonna find me.
He's.
It's foul on you, okay? Foul!
What
do you mean there's no reason to be afraid?
I mean, there's no reason to be afraid.
What? Did you not hear me?
I heard you just fine.
I guess you did. Well, there will be hundreds of people there. I will mess up and look like a goober.
You know what, Referee Ricky? That's probably exactly the way Joshua felt in our Bible story today. He was about to take over the leadership of the people of Israel. They were about to face a huge battle, and he wasn't sure he had what it took to lead those people into battle.
What do you do then?
Well, he ended up having a face-to-face encounter with God. God reminded Joshua that he did not have to fear as long as God was with him. I tell you what, why don't you take a second and watch this Power Verse video, okay? Dr. Boing and Dr. Van Hinkelsnot will teach you exactly what God said to Joshua. Check this video out.
Where's Dr. Vaughn? Oh! Hey, Dr. Vaughn! What?
I'm hiding.
But it's me, Dr. Boing!
Have you seen the nurse?
The nurse?
I'm supposed to get a shot, and I do not want to get a shot.
Oh, are you afraid of doctors?
No.
Are you afraid of needles?
No.
Then what are you afraid of?
Those little things, they stick on your arm over the wound.
You're afraid of Band-Aids?
They're so horrible, I can't stand Band-Aids.
Dr. Vaughn, you need to listen to today's Power Verse. Today's Power Verse says, I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9.
That is an amazing Power Verse, yes. But I don't see how it's going to help me at all. What? The Band-Aid is such a vile machine.
Dr. Vaughn, why don't you get the girls to stand up and do the Power Verse with you?
Girls, will you say the Power Verse with me on the count of 3?
Yes.
Stand up.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. Thank you for saying the Power Verse with me. Yes. Boys, I think Dr. Boing would want you to say it with him.
Yes, because B is for boing and B is for boys. So stand up and do the Power Verse with me. Here we go, boys. Come on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9.
Wait to be strong and courageous, boys. Yes. Sit down. Dr. Boing has something he wants to say.
Yes, boys and girls. Anytime you're afraid, you must trust God because He gives you all the strength and He takes away all of your fear if you just trust Him. Yes, that's exactly right. So if He wants you to do something, be courageous and do it. Isn't that right, Dr. Vaughn?
It sounds good to me, but I still don't know about the Band-Aid.
Oh, Dr. Vaughn, stop it. Let's get everybody, both boys and girls, to stand up and do the Power Verse together. Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, perhaps I can handle one little old Band-Aid.
Right there.
But for now, I'm Dr. Van Hinkelsnot.
And I'm Dr. Boing.
Bye-bye.
Toodles. Goodbye. Go get a Band-Aid, you silly goose. Ow.
Whoa! That's amazing! So, there's really no reason for me to be afraid as long as God is with me.
That's right.
Right? Okay. Well. Oh, I'm back to myself now.
Good.
Oh, if Joshua can face an entire enemy army, right?
Right, that's what he did.
Right. I can surely face a few hundred referees.
Referee Ricky, you are exactly right, and I'm glad that you have learned this lesson today.
Wow, I have a confidence now.
Good, good.
Yeah. Well, me too. Now, I can quit hiding and go tell the president that I can take on the crowd of referees. I can be strong and courageous. Yeah!
I'm glad you're no longer afraid to blow that whistle.
I do not have to be terrified. The Lord is with me wherever I go.
Now you're talking.
No, you were talking. I'm talking now. All right then. All right. I better get going. See you later, kids.
Bye, Referee Ricky. Bye, kids. It's great.
Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Katrina back again for week 5 of 10 for Life. Have you been working on memorizing these 10 verses? If you've missed any, you can always check out the NRC Kids YouTube page and catch any episodes you missed. I promise you won't be sad if you take the time to memorize these verses. Now today we're going to be looking at an important person in the Bible, and his name is Joshua. Joshua was a person who God called to take over for Moses, the leader of God's chosen people of Israel. Can you imagine having to take over for Moses? I mean, after all, Moses was an amazing great leader. And he was the leader who went before the Egyptian Pharaoh and told him, "Let my people go." When Pharaoh didn't do it, Moses sent 10 plagues upon Egypt, plagues of millions of frogs, rivers of blood, terrible storms, and so much more. And then Pharaoh agreed to let God's people go. The Israelites were free, that is, until Pharaoh came charging after them. But then Moses parted the Red Sea, and the nation of Israel walked across dry land. Pharaoh and his armies were drowned in the sea. Moses led the nation of Israel for over 40 years, and now they had made it to the Promised Land. It was time to go to battle against the enemy. But Moses had died, and it was now Joshua's turn to take over. Can you imagine being Joshua? Can you imagine being asked to do such a huge task? He had to take over for one of the world's greatest leaders ever and lead God's people against a nation of giants. How would you feel? I would feel pretty, underqualified. That's kind of a big word. I don't think that I could do it. Maybe you would feel like that too. Most of us would have begun to list off excuses and reasons as to why there's no way we could fill that role that God was calling us to. It's just too big. What are some of the excuses we give when we're asked to do big things? Maybe you say, "I'm just too young to do what God asks." Maybe you think somebody else would be better at doing what God asked you to do. Have you ever said to yourself, "I just don't have time to do what God asks me to do"? Or maybe you just thought, "I am just too little. I am not going to be able to do what God asks me to do." I am sure Joshua felt the same things in his heart. It's tough to think of ourselves as able to do big things for God. I mean, after all, He's God. We think we're too young, too weak, or too afraid to do what God calls us to do. But God speaks directly to Joshua and addresses all of those fears that he has clearly felt. God says to Joshua in Joshua 1:9, I command you to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. God tells Joshua the same thing he tells us when we don't think there's any way we can do what he's calling us to do. He says, I command you, be strong and courageous. So the first thing we need to remember when we feel afraid to do what God calls us to do is be courageous and strong. God doesn't say, well, if it's okay with you, I'd really like you to be strong and courageous. Pretty please? No, God tells us the same thing he told Joshua. I command you, be strong and courageous. We can remember that when we're afraid and we have all kinds of excuses why we can't do the big thing God asks us to, that he has commanded us. So if we don't do it, we're disobeying God. So, does that make you think, well, just because God commanded me to be strong and courageous doesn't mean it's any easier to not be afraid? I get that. Sometimes our fears can overwhelm us because they're so huge. But God can take fear and turn it into strength and courage. I have something. Can you see it? This is a seed. If we think of our fear as this seed, this is, I think I'm gonna fail. I think others are gonna make fun of me. I don't have what it takes to do what God wants me to do. God understands your fears. He wants us to take these fears and give them to him. So, we take our fear and go to God. And we say to God, we're going to pretend this cup of dirt is God for a moment. Lord, I am afraid. I don't think I can do this on my own. I need your help with this fear. I give it to you. When we take our fear to God in prayer, he can turn that fear into strength and courage. Isn't that amazing and beautiful? God can take your fear and turn it into strength and courage, just like he did Joshua. Then you can move forward and do big things God has called you to do. Along the way, you may feel that fear trying to creep back in. When you do, remind yourself the same thing God reminded Joshua. He can be strong and courageous because you don't have to fear, because God is with you wherever you will go. The devil may try to come against you, but God is with you. He will use his power to defeat the devil. He will give you the strength and courage you need to accomplish his will. You don't have to fear. God is here. So you can be just like Joshua. You can be strong and courageous for the Lord your God, because he is with you wherever you go. Let's go to God right now. Will you pray with me? God, I thank you. I thank you that you want to use us in your big plan. I thank you that you will call us to big things, and that you will give us the strength and courage to do everything you ask us to do. Lord, I pray that each child would always remember your presence, and they would feel you right next to them, in front of them, behind them, and through them. Thank you, God, for making us strong and courageous. We can't do it without you. Amen.
Boo! Don't be scared, baby. We're learning Joshua 1:9. We're going to talk about it in the Wrap It Up. Here we go. Joshua told us what to do when we're scared and hopeless and don't have a clue. Be strong and courageous. Don't be scared. That's what Joshua declared. How could he be so strong and brave? Because he knew God would show him the way. One thing you should always know, God will be with you wherever you go, baby. That's right. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be worried. You don't have to be all terrified and stuff. No. You be strong and courageous, because the Lord is always by your side. I got a rainbow flavor, and I'm living for my Savior, baby. Skittles is out of here.